Why, hello. Thank you. Come on in. Welcome to another edition of the Smartest Man in the World show. With your host, the hostess with the mostest, Stone Thug, comedian, singer, designer, poet, philosopher, green home house developer, prison reform advocate, and a host of other things. And some very, very colorful names from some of my viewers. All those names aren't cool, but if they're funny, I'll take it. Oh, well, you reach me again. I'm in the bed. My favorite spot. Anyway, or should I say, you might ask, what is the point of this? Why are you making these shows from your bed? And frankly, the answer is simple. You're mere mortals, earthlings, mental midgets, as my illustrious friend Dr. Zachary Smith would say on Lost in Space. Mental midgets. Man, that's hard. I might call you little people. I might say earthlings. But mental midgets is kind of mean. Dr. Smith was so mean. But we loved him so much. Now, those first-time viewers, I want to say hello to you all. I'm Stone Thug, as I said before, and this show is called The Smartest Man in the World. And at times, I have been on occasion found to film the show from my bed. Because, frankly, some of your questions are less than challenging. And when I have those kinds of questions, I feel, well, a representation of that is just to get out of bed and just answer on the cuff. So, I'm going to answer some of your questions today, and that's what the show is about. But on this show, I'd like to mention to some of you more of my mental viewers, those who are higher learning explorations, basically what we do on this show is we discuss world events, philosophy, the cosmos. We touch off into astrophysics, biochemistry, nuclear science. We might dabble in theoretical physics and things of that nature. I believe on our last show, this show being show number 11, we touched off on some of my passions regarding intergalactic activities, such as things going on in the cosmos, the relationship between nebula and dark matter in the formulation of new planets. And we spoke about various things, social issues. And I'd like to just be open to whatever the questions are today, because we don't always talk about things of that nature. Sciences, though I love the sciences. And a lot of you are curious what I'm working on now. Well, Bill Gates, you know, the richest guy in the world, off and on, because it's always a battle between him, Warren Buffett, the other guy in Mexico. It's basically they have an interest in developing clean energy from clean fusion energy. And the basic problem that's going on right now with that is that you have these man-made isotopes that they have to separate um, from each other in order to create clean energy. Because basically, when they create atomic energy uh, that is made of these man-made components or elements, should I say, they're together. They're toxic, and and that's really the problem with atomic energy, is that you have these elements that are dangerous, and the same way what they discovered. When you drop an atomic bomb, the military would love to have atomic bombs that did not leave these lingering effects with its radiation fallout that takes, this half-life. You have to go so many years. If they can shorten the years, that would be one thing. They would love that bomb. But that bomb came with strings attached. So radio, should I say, nuclear energy comes with strings attached. You have this waste material. But in the waste material itself is the secret to free energy. It's not going to necessarily be free, but they don't want the cost to be so great as it is today. So if they can develop clean energy, that's really the goal of the world right now. And so that's one of my interests today. So it varies from the sciences. I'm interested, like I said before, in astrophysics, my first love, then biochemistry, nuclear sciences. That's my ching ching love. So, but my number one, outside of the love of God, and I do love the Lord. And I start my day with a little prayer, and I ask Him if I could say something to somebody to help them to have a better day. That makes me happy. So I dedicate this particular show more to the social interests of the viewer audience, the social issues. So continuing that, and now that we're through all of that, my questions that were given to me this week through the various medias, I noticed that there were a couple that were noteworthy, and one was actually almost worthy of me dressing up and not answering the question from the bed. That's going to be the second question today, and that was brought to me by a viewer on YouTube. But what I'd like to say to you, I believe it was YouTube, and to always clarify, my regular viewers notice that when you have a regular name, I can quote, the person's name or whatever. But when you have a name filled with zeros and dots and dashes, I'm just not very good at pronouncing names. So I mispronounce them. So you know who you are, and I thank you so much for your question. But the two questions were, and I really need to have the paper in front of me, but I'm in the bed a lot, so I don't feel like getting out. One was, who are some of the inspirations or inspiring personalities? I believe something like that. Who inspired me to do some of the things that I do? And of course, I have all the regular people that people are interested in. People like Newton, Albert Einstein. But I believe strongly in a lot of the poetic writing of that you find in the biblical passages in the Old and New Testament as well. So, of course, all of the red writing that you find in the New Testament of Jesus Christ, I particularly find those touching and inspiring. Of course, I like, Shakespeare, of course. But Sir Isaac Newton is probably one of my greatest, And though I love Albert Einstein, Sir Isaac Newton, I talked about this in videos in the past. It was just such a phenomenal so far ahead of his time, because Einstein, for all of his creative cosmos, astrophysical theories and the theories of relativity and things of that nature, he was still a modern man. Where Newton, he lived hundreds of years ago, and he had less to work with. So I tend to, and then he was a mathematician as well. So I tend to lean more toward him, his philosophy of life. And one of the others I would have to say is the great painters. Of course, I like those, like Michelangelo, or Michelangelo is the correct pronunciation of his name. But Leonardo da Vinci. And you may or may not know this, but Leonardo da Vinci was really not known for his great inventions at the time of his life. I mean, he was known, but that's not what made him known through the annals of history. It was really his little hobby, his painting. And that one particular picture is really what brought him to the attention of the 20th century, like we live in, was the Mona Lisa, which I believe was painted in 1504. And he worked on it for 10 years. And believe it or not, through that picture is where people discovered, in modern times, discovered all his inventions and discoveries. You would think that with all the things he worked on, such as the layout of the helicopter, the parachute, and the aqualungs, and all of the work he'd done on anatomy, that he would have been known for those things. He was sort of in his day, but that's not what made him memorable throughout history. So Leonardo da Vinci was truly an inspiring figure. And of course, when it comes to the arts, Pablo Picasso, of course, Andy Warhol, and a couple of others. That eludes me at this moment. So that answers that question, I hope. And of course, by all means, of course, Dr. Martin Luther King and all the other great men of today in modern times. So, I hope that, answers that question. The next question we have, think about it, okay. How would you help the black population with their greatest overall concern of low unemployment numbers? So the question is being asked, how would I help? I'm assuming you want to know what can, on the Smartest Man in the World show, what can I think of that could possibly solve the unemployment numbers for African Americans, in America? And that is a good question. That is a good question. But for me, alas, you mental midgets, little people, mere mortals, it's a simple question. Now, you're asked it. Look, we've been tolerating you up to this point, but now you're getting on our nerves. And how do you see a question like that as being less than challenging? A question like that was worthy of you getting dressed up and getting out of the bed. But actually, it's an easy question to answer. And I would say that America's African-American population, black folks, a.k.a. the brethren, if they wanted to do it and completely leave the government out of it, not expect any help from any rich folks, not expect any help from Mr. Obama, the president, which I don't necessarily subscribe to not wanting help from the government, not wanting help from Mr. Obama, not wanting help from private industries and rich folks, aka the wealthy. Those things and those entities could help the problem, should I say solve the problem, very easily if they chose to. But industry, Obama, and rich folks have no interest, I believe, serious interest, in solving the unemployment problems of African Americans. I think that they may be some good folks out there in all those groups that may want to do some sort of Band-Aid type of fix. But overall, in order to do a thorough and complete wipeout of unemployment in the black community, which I believe is somewhere around, what the public number is 15%, and private, the reality is probably around 25% unemployment. I believe that the answer could be found simply by doing a very simple thing. Forgetting, not that I'm recommending that we do this, I'm just simply stating that if regular black folks all got together, and of course, when I say all, the reality of all, it would only take 20%, but you should shoot for 50%. And so if you get the word out to 80%, that this is a problem that has been here a while, and it's a problem that we have to try to fix in this great democracy that we live in. If we were to, let's say, all dedicate $1,000, just one, every 5 years, sacrifice $1,000 every 5 years. And $1,000 would roughly be the price of a Happy Meal a year, or a couple of cups of coffee at Starbucks. If we decided to sacrifice this $1,000, and really not with the intention of sacrificing it, but it may actually be a sacrifice, and you decided to get together with 100 people in your community, and every year, 100 people would put $1,000